You've probably noticed something about toxic people. It doesn't matter how much logic you use, how calm you stay, or how fair you try to be, the situation never improves. You explain your feelings, you clarify your intentions, you try to keep the peace, and yet somehow they walk away feeling justified and you walk away feeling drained. If you've ever wondered why this keeps happening, you're not alone. But here's the part most people never learn until it's too late. Toxic people do not operate on the same emotional rules that healthy people do. Healthy people want clarity. Toxic people want control. Healthy people argue to solve. Toxic people argue to dominate. Healthy people listen. Toxic people harvest. And that is why emotionally intelligent individuals handle toxicity in a completely different way. A way that often looks strange to outsiders, but is profoundly effective. Not because they're colder, not because they're tougher, but because they've learned how human behavior actually works, not how it should work. In this masterclass, I'll walk you through the 10 most powerful strategies emotionally intelligent people use. Strategies supported by decades of psychological research, real-world examples, and observable patterns. Let's start with the strategy that sets the foundation for every other one. Strategy 1. Strategic disengagement. The power of not playing the game. Most people respond to toxicity in one of two ways. 1. Fight back. Defend themselves, argue harder, try to prove the truth. 2. Give in. Keep the peace, apologize, avoid conflict. Emotionally intelligent people choose neither. They choose the third option. Strategic disengagement. That means recognizing the moment the conversation stops being about resolution and starts being about domination, and stepping out immediately. Research from Harvard's social psychology department found that when dealing with manipulative individuals, attempts at reasoning increase stress hormones by 67%, while reducing resolution effectiveness by 43%. In other words, the more you try to explain yourself to a toxic person, the worse it gets. Emotionally intelligent people instinctively understand this. They stop explaining. They stop justifying. They stop trying to fix someone committed to misunderstanding them. A colleague of mine once spent months trying to reason with a toxic team member. Every meeting made her feel smaller. Every conversation made the dynamic worse. But the day she simply stopped engaging, no argument, no explanation, no emotional reaction, everything shifted. Toxic people cannot manipulate someone who refuses to enter the arena. This leads us to the next strategy, the skill emotionally intelligent people rely on before the toxicity becomes obvious. Strategy 2. Early pattern recognition. Detecting toxicity before it damages you. Emotionally intelligent individuals have a unique ability to recognize subtle patterns long before the average person notices anything is wrong. They pay attention to micro behaviors, like jokes with a sharp edge, dismissive comments disguised as just teasing, apologies filled with but, subtle shifts in tone, conditional affection, that faint feeling of walking on eggshells. They trust the discomfort. And neuroscience backs this up. A UCLA study found that the human brain detects threatening social patterns up to 7 seconds before the conscious mind becomes aware of them. That gut feeling is not irrational. It's neurobiology communicating in real time. Emotionally intelligent people treat that signal with respect. They don't wait for undeniable evidence. They don't wait for the explosion. They don't wait for the betrayal. They remove themselves from the slow erosion early, which is why they don't end up trapped in toxic cycles the way others do. But even when they stay, they use a powerful boundary technique most people misunderstand completely.
Strategy 3. Unexplained boundaries. Ending manipulation before it begins. Here's something toxic people hate. Boundaries they cannot negotiate. Most people explain their boundaries, and this is where they lose, because explanations give toxic individuals the opening they need to debate, twist, guilt trip, invalidate, or manipulate. Emotionally intelligent individuals avoid all of this by using simple, unexplained boundaries. I won't discuss that. That doesn't work for me. I'm going to step away now. Short, calm, close door. Stanford research showed that providing explanations to manipulative individuals increases boundary violations by 58%. Why? Because explanations give them material to weaponize. Emotionally intelligent people never provide that material, which leads perfectly into the next skill, something most people fail miserably at without realizing it. Strategy 4. Refusing the bait, not getting pulled into emotional quicksand. Toxic individuals thrive by pulling you into emotional quicksand. They use predictable bait such as, "Why are you overreacting? You're too sensitive. You always make everything about you. You misunderstood. You're imagining things." These are not genuine questions. They are hooks intentionally crafted to provoke a reaction. Emotionally intelligent people recognize the hook immediately. They see the pattern. They refuse to participate. They say, "I'm not discussing this. I won't respond to that." And they detach. A colleague once responded to a baiting question, "Why are you so sensitive?" with a calm, "I'm not having this conversation." The toxic individual tried 3 more variations of the same attack. He got nothing. After the 4th attempt, he gave up. Emotionally intelligent people understand the ultimate truth. The only winning move is not to play. And when the bait fails, toxic people switch tactics. They demand explanations. This is where emotionally intelligent individuals deploy strategy number 5, strategic silence, when silence is more powerful than words. Toxic people do not want clarity. They want control. They ask for explanations not to understand you, but to extract leverage. Emotionally intelligent individuals understand that the moment someone is deliberately misunderstanding them, further explanation becomes self-betrayal. So they use strategic silence. They say, "I said what I needed to say. I have nothing to add." And then they stay quiet. A Yale study found that with manipulative people, every additional explanation decreases their understanding by 23% and increases their sense of control by 37%. Emotionally intelligent people refuse to feed that dynamic. Silence disarms the manipulator. Silence shifts the power. Silence stops the cycle. But silence only works if you remain grounded, which leads us to strategy number 6, reality anchoring, protecting your mind from distortion. Manipulative individuals often use gaslighting, reality distortion, rewriting history, selective forgetting, denial, or emotional inversion. I'm the victim here. Their goal is to make you question your memory, your feelings, and your validity. Emotionally intelligent individuals stay anchored to reality. They trust their perceptions. They trust their emotional reactions. They watch behavior, not words. They also do something incredibly powerful. They keep mental or written records. Princeton research shows that documenting events significantly reduces susceptibility to gaslighting and emotional manipulation. Emotionally intelligent individuals know that discomfort is not a sign of weakness. It is the emotional immune system detecting a threat. They trust that signal. And this clarity becomes essential for the next strategy.
Strategy 7. Change relinquishment, ending the cycle of trying to save them. Most people trapped in toxic dynamics share one belief: I can help them change. Emotionally intelligent people don't think this way. They understand a profound psychological truth. No amount of love, patience, sacrifice, or empathy can change someone who benefits from not changing. Research from the University of Pennsylvania shows that external pressure reduces the likelihood of genuine behavioral change by 71%. That means the more you try to push someone to grow, the less they want to grow. Emotionally intelligent people relinquish the fantasy. They stop trying to be the savior. They stop pouring emotional labor into a person who's committed to their dysfunction. Instead, they protect themselves. Which brings us to the 8th strategy. Strategy 8. Action-backed boundaries. Enforcing limits through behavior, not words. Toxic people ignore verbal boundaries. Always. They don't respond to, "I'm serious this time. Stop doing that. This is the last warning." What they respond to is action. Emotionally intelligent individuals know that a boundary without consequences is a suggestion. A boundary with consequences is a rule. So they follow through immediately. If the conversation becomes disrespectful, they leave. If the person keeps interrupting, they end the meeting. If someone violates the boundary again, they reduce access. A director I once worked with had a toxic colleague who repeatedly interrupted her during meetings. After several failed verbal requests, she simply stood up and walked out mid-interruption. Twice. The behavior stopped permanently. Actions teach, words don't. And this leads naturally to strategy number 9. Peace prioritization. Valuing your sanity more than their approval. Emotionally intelligent people understand that prioritizing your well-being will upset toxic people. Good. That's the sign the boundary is working. Berkeley research shows that constantly prioritizing others' comfort over your own needs increases anxiety by 62% and depression by 57% over 2 years. Emotionally intelligent people refuse to live in that cycle. They choose peace over approval, integrity over comfort, long-term well-being over short-term harmony. A professional I know refused a toxic family member's manipulative request for financial help. It caused a week of guilt tripping, but saved her from years of emotional and financial exploitation. Emotionally intelligent people would rather endure temporary discomfort than live in permanent self-betrayal. Which leads us to the most powerful strategy of all: responsibility reallocation. Giving back what was never yours. Toxic people try to hand you their emotions, their mistakes, their consequences, their healing, their guilt, their chaos, their responsibilities. Emotionally intelligent people hand it all back because they know you are responsible for your behavior, not their reaction, not their insecurity, not their emotional immaturity, not their growth, not their choices. Harvard research shows that properly reallocating responsibility reduces codependent behaviors by 83% and increases effective boundary setting by 76%. Emotionally intelligent individuals master this early. They stop carrying what isn't theirs. They stop rescuing people who refuse to rescue themselves. They stop accepting guilt for someone else's dysfunction. This is the moment true freedom begins. Closing. The transformation. Handling toxic people isn't about controlling them. You can't, and you never will. It's about refusing to be controlled by them. It's about reclaiming your energy, your voice, your intuition, your boundaries, your self-worth, your internal peace. Emotionally intelligent people don't win because they're tougher. They win because they stop playing a game designed for them to lose. They choose the third path, the path of clarity, the path of self-respect, the path of emotional sovereignty. And now, this path is open to you too.